Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to review this year's Money in the Bank. Now if I had to use one word to describe this year's event, it would be awesome. This show delivered. It had shocks, it had surprises, it had returns. We even saw John Cena, for crying out loud. And of course, Jey Uso pinning Roman Reigns. The first time that Roman Reigns has been pinned in nearly 3.5 years. You have to go all the way back to what? TLC 2019, December the 15th, when of all people, Baron Corbin, that's right, Baron Corbin pinned Roman Reigns. What a moment. Now, on a personal level, I'm not going to go through the ins and outs. I'm not going to bore you to death. This channel's to entertain, not to hear about my life story. But unfortunately, due to personal circumstances, I was unable to attend the event live. I had to give up my ticket and I was gutted. The fact that we saw John Cena and witnessed Roman Reigns being pinned, to not see that live in person, I'm gutted. But also I understand at the same time, there are things that sometimes come above wrestling. Thankfully, I did get to watch the show in its entirety. I've now watched it twice over, so I can give an honest review on it. And it was a brilliant show. The crowd were absolutely raucous. And WWE, here's a quick message to you. Please, please, please give us WrestleMania in the future. Wembley would be epic. John Cena thinks so. Now, we're going to go through the review of the show, but I want to know if you were at the show, if you managed to attend the event live in person. Get down in the comment section, share your experiences, your thoughts and opinions on the show. There's nothing like your first show. If it's your first show as well, even better, just share your honest reviews. Now, let's kick things off with the first match we got on this year's show. Of course, the men's Money in the Bank match. Now, there was one clear, overwhelming favourite in, of course, LA Knight, and WWE didn't go with him. They went really left field. They went for Damian Priest, the Judgment Day member, out of nowhere. Like, they really did. Top spots that stand out for me were that frog splash that Logan Paul did on Damian Priest on the ladder, and of course the spot with Ricochet and Logan Paul when they sort of catapulted off the top ropes. Logan Paul sort of looked like he had a nasty fall there as well, bleeding I believe as well. WWE of course didn't want you to see that, so they cut away quite quickly when they realised that was the case. But overall, I think it served the purpose of developing this Judgment Day friction between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Of course, we'll mention that later in the video, of course, in the Seth Rollins-Finn Balor matchup, because that sort of came to light there. But it's out there. You certainly feel that this was a Triple H booked show, because there was a shock, there was a surprise. It wasn't what we expected. Now, I don't think this is going to do any damage, any harm to LA Knight. He'll be fine. He's over as Rover. He's like arguably making that babyface turn. It certainly feels that he is a babyface now. Those reactions, you can't have him as a heel, because if you have him as a heel, I wouldn't want to ever be the babyface taking him on, because you're going to get booed. I mean, even hometown hero Butch was getting booed when he was punching back and forth with LA Knight, where every time LA Knight connected, the crowd erupted into yeah. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the outcome, to be honest with you. It makes sense from a storyline perspective. And of course, you can have Logan Paul versus LA Knight. You can have Logan Paul versus Ricochet. There's all sorts of matches that can take place at SummerSlam away from the briefcase sort of scene. I get why they went with the pick that they went with. Next up, we got the women's tag team match where, of course, the current champions, well, the former champions now, in Ronda and, of course, Shayna took on Liv and Raquel. And being honest about this, I thought this was going to be a bit of a squash match. I thought the Ronda and Shayna were going to target Liv's injury. They did in the match and then win. I thought they were going to steamroll them and then we're going to move on from that. What I didn't see in a million years was Shayna, at this moment anyway, I thought it was going to be a little bit further down the line, attacking Ronda, her best friend in Ronda Rousey. So surely, inevitably, this is going to set up Ronda versus Shayna in this year's SummerSlam, and that is going to be super tasty. Congratulations, of course, to Liv and Raquel, the new women's tag team champions. They deserve it. They're a duo that just works. Little and large, I like to call them, and they're over as well as baby faces. And of course, you've got the dynamic down the line. If they were to lose the belt, one of them can turn I think inevitably it's going to be Raquel, and then we see a more fierce and more dominant Raquel. Personally, my money is on Raquel versus Rhea Ripley in next year's WrestleMania. I think that will be an absolute banger of a show. Maybe Raquel wins the Rumble to get to that path. We'll have to wait and see. Next up, we got the IC title match between Gunther and Riddle. You knew full well that Gunther was going to target Riddle's ankle, and he didn't hold back. It was brutal. There's times when you watch Gunther and you just think, ouch, don't you? Every time he chops the chest of anyone, you can hear it from all over the world. And Gunther, of course, just put like a weapon. I'm surprised how much offense Riddle got in as well. It was certainly no rollover. He was no pushover in the matchup. But predictably, of course, Gunther got the victory. But what we didn't see in a million years was as soon as the matchup finished and Gunther was celebrating, out of nowhere, Drew McIntyre returned. I popped when I saw him return. Massively a fan of Drew McIntyre. I was there at Clash at the Castle when he came so close to defeating Roman Reigns if it weren't for Solo Sikoa, and we'll get onto that in a moment. And of course it makes sense to bring back Drew McIntyre as a babyface in the UK. Down the line you can turn him heel if you need to, but he's still massively over Drew McIntyre, and of course he was going to get a huge ovation in the UK. We get this stare down between Drew McIntyre and Gunther, and then Drew McIntyre takes out Gunther, Claymore kick, boom, like lights out, and inevitably we're going to get Gunther versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Next up, we saw Cody Rhodes take on Dominic Mysterio, and of course the result of this was pretty predictable. I mentioned it in my predictions video. This was going to go no other way than Cody Rhodes beating Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio, not in a million years, should be beating Cody. Imagine if he did. He would talk about it for the next decade. We got interference, of course, from Rhea. We knew we would, but it was a predictable victory. I know there was speculation, maybe a bit of disappointment that Brock Lesnar didn't interfere and cost Cody. But think about it logically. Is someone like Brock Lesnar going to travel all the way to the UK when he's not on the match card for a segment just to take out Cody Rhodes, when he can just do it in his home country on an episode of Raw? I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up this Monday night on Raw, attacks Cody Rhodes, and that sets up bout number 3 between the two of them, and then we get some crazy match stipulation, bonkers stipulation out there for SummerSlam. I think that's more than likely the path they're going to go. No issues with Cody beating Dom. And then, just completely out of nowhere, we get John Cena, and the crowd absolutely erupted, sung along to his theme song. And he even made a joke about the fact that normally you tell me, you know, I suck, and now you're vibing to my theme. I thought that was a nice touch from the UK crowd. And John Cena was pretty much just testing the water with the UK crowd, basically mentioning the fact that we are super passionate fans and we deserve WrestleMania. And I thought that was a nice touch from John Cena. There's so much respect from John Cena, a superstar where I've watched his entire career, which is madness to think about it. All the way back in the early 2000s, him and Randy Orton, like through the entirety of their career. I always feel a bit nostalgic when I see John Cena in a weird, like, emotional way. It's odd, I can't describe it, but great to see John Cena. And also, I thought it was a pretty good segment from Grayson Waller as well. He showed up and sort of run his mouth opposing John Cena, saying that WWE should listen to him and host WrestleMania in his home country of Australia. But, you know, on this channel, we're Bray Wyatt fans. There's a lot of Bray Wyatt fans on this channel, and you can't help but ignore what Grayson Waller said. He referenced directly The Fiend when he was talking about people that John Cena recently had lost to. He said, didn't The Fiend beat you at WrestleMania? Was that a little Easter egg? What do you think? Get down in the comment section. But nevertheless, a really, really fun segment. And that, of course, brought us on to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, I couldn't see any other person winning than Io Sky. I even did a fantasy booking video, and still I picked Io Sky. I just didn't see any others. You got to remember, Trish, Becky, and Zoe are wrapped up in their own storyline. Zelina would have been an outside shot, would have been a popular choice, but Io Sky was the way forward. The way she won as well, handcuffing both Becky and Bayley to the ladder as well. And you can see Bayley secretly deep down is chuffed Delighted for Io Sky, because also look at it away from kayfabe, the purpose of having factions such as Damage Control and veterans like Bayley being the leader of these factions is to elevate the stars in that faction. And Damage Control, say what you like about the faction, hasn't been great, but one thing they've delivered is making Io Sky a star, turning her into what will be a super over babyface, I'm sure, down the line. You can tease a few between Bayley and Io. I'm sure we're going to get that down the line as well. I actually enjoyed it match-wise a little bit more than the men's side. There were a few really cool spots. I love the manhandled slam from Becky Lynch off the announce table to Trish. Like, Trish taking bumps like that at her age, like, kudos to her. She looks like $1,000,000. She's not missed a beat. And of course, we can't ignore the code red from Zelina Vega off the ladder to Zoe Stark. Ouch. That was, for me, one of the highlight standout moments, and it just shows how much Zelina Vega is improved as well. She's massively over at the same time. I dig it. Next up, we got the matchup between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight title. And if I'm being brutally honest, this match for me, slightly disappointed. Now, it's probably on me. I built up a picture of what I wanted to see. I had all these fantasy booking scenarios, and I thought this is where they were actually going to return Drew in the main event title scene, and they didn't. So as soon as Drew returned earlier in the night, I kind of went in a bit skeptical with this match, thinking maybe they might have Damien cash in or something like that, but that wasn't the case. In the end, we got a pretty stock standard match between Finn and Seth, two of my favourite superstars in WWE. And after teasing this dominant, vicious side of Finn Balor, that promo was one of the best promos I've seen in Finn Balor's career on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Going into the match, I just thought we were going to see a little bit more, and what inevitably happened was Damian Priest swans down to the ring with his newly won briefcase, stands ringside, puts off, distracts Finn Balor for a brief second, and then Seth Rollins gets the victory. And yes, I like this in terms of the storyline dynamic with the Judgment Day, teasing the friction between Finn and Damien. And yes, I think Damien is a cool guy. I think he's brilliant. I think he's improved massively. He's got better on the mic, and he's 40 years old, so he's no spring chicken. Like, if they're going to push him, they need to push him now. And I get it. And of course, that brings us on to the Bloodline Civil War. Jey Uso being the first one in over nearly 3.5 years to pin Roman Reigns. Now, I know in the predictions videos, a lot of you went with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa to win, and you kind of thought, Wiz, what are you doing going for the Usos to win? I just had a feeling that the Usos would get the win here when there was no title on the line, and then inevitably we're probably going to get Jey versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, and then Roman will go over. They've teased friction between Solo and Roman, so there's plenty of meat on the bones left in regards to the Bloodline storyline. So I wouldn't be surprised if then Solo takes on Roman at maybe the Saudi event, and so on and so forth. Obviously, we can't predict the future. This is WWE. It's becoming more unpredictable, which is great. Absolutely love it. There's more swerves, there's more shocks. It's great, isn't it? But what do you think about the result? I think it was the right decision, personally. As there was no titles on the line, this isn't going to hurt Roman. This is just going to infuriate Roman. I can't wait to see the next version of Roman Reigns that comes in the next few weeks. He is going to be livid. The friction between him and Solo is going to be off the scale, because it's 2 losses back to back for them as a tag team, and that's what the history books will say. What do you think? What did you think in total of this year's event? I loved it for one. I thought this is an excellent show, and I've really enjoyed reviewing this show. Of course, a lot of you will know on this channel, I will be going full time from August the 1st. So this will be daily content. I will be doing reviews on SmackDown, Raw, all the PLEs, and NXT. But let me know also as well, feel free to email me in the about section on my page as well. Send me an email if there's shows that you want to see on this channel. I plan on doing my Bray Wyatt theory videos, my prediction videos, my general theory videos, and also I like the idea of doing, maybe on a fortnightly basis, a superstar showcase where we cover the entire career of specific superstars. I will be opening up membership as well on the channel as well, so you can get your shout outs and you can get a theory video, your personal theory, shared on the channel as well. Got loads and loads of ideas, so it's exciting times on the channel. Obviously gutted I couldn't come to this year's Money in the Bank, but there will be more in the future. Thank you so much for watching the video, and as always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. We'll catch you in the next one.